Good afternoon, everyone. This is me, Murshida, welcoming you all to the ninth series of We Talk, Feel the Versatile Vibe. Today, joining with us today is a very special guest with a beautiful smile and infinite energy, Miss Shibli Suhana, aka the Superwoman. She's a co-founder of Stories Revolutionary, clinical psychology student, and clinical psychology student and a mental health activist. Welcome to the We Talk Superwoman.
Thank you so much for the invitation. Hello, Murshida.
Welcome. Hi. It's been very pleasure to have a series with you.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be invited here.
Wow. Okay, so let's start. Are you ready?
Yeah, yeah, sure.
Okay. Uh, okay. Uh, from the famous channel Kappa TV, there is a show called The Happiness Project. So the host Denya Verma used to shoot a question to every guest: "What gives you happiness?" And that question was answered by every guest, like in a different way. So when I ask this question to Superwoman, how would you answer? What gives you happiness?
Okay, so honestly, I'm not somebody who thinks that happiness is something that other people give you. I feel like
Okay.
happiness is something that comes from within. When we do certain things, when we see certain things, when we feel certain ways, that's when you feel happiness. That's what I feel. So I'm just gonna
Okay.
name a few things that makes me really happy. All right?
Okay. Okay.
Might be superficial, I don't know, but these are the things that make me happy.
Okay.
Me and my mom and my brother, all three of us lying in the sofa watching a movie, makes me extremely happy. Sometimes at
Wow.
nights, we don't sleep early. We just cuddle in the bed, all three of us, and laugh out loud saying random stuff. That makes me really happy. Little babies giggling, like making those noises, babbling with their voice when they don't really know how to talk, that makes me really happy. The color yellow, wherever I see it, whenever I see it, for some reason really brightens up my day, makes me extremely happy. The smell of bread, I don't know how to explain this, but bakeries, when you walk in
Yes.
front of the bakeries in the early mornings, you feel a smell. It's a very, very strong smell. That smell makes me extremely happy. Also,
Okay.
when you're trekking or when you go for camping and all, and you're going in search of a waterfall or so, and you have to walk a lot, you have to trek a lot, and you're waiting to listen to that sound, that little sound of water falling, because you know you're getting closer to the waterfall. So chasing that waterfall, I'd say that makes me really happy. I would say it's these little things that brings me a lot of happiness.
Wow. That's a great reply anyway. And one common thing we have together is that even yellow color makes me too happy. And even seeing that poster, everyone commented that, asking that, are you my sister? So I said them that,
Oh.
yeah, I wish to be her super sister.
You're
Okay.
accepted. You are my sister. Take it.
Wow. That's my pleasure. Okay. Now, next question is related about super mommy. Actually, where is super mommy?
She's not well. She's actually fallen sick.
Okay. So, you both are really a role model for all the mummies and daughters out there. Actually, whenever I see you both, I feel like, oh, I wish if I had a super mommy like here. So, what do you think the essentiality of having a supportive parent who supports during all the thick and thins, who stand up during a mental illness or a social illness? So, what is the essential of having a supportive parent?
It's very important to have a supportive parent. I think it's something that is very essential. Everybody deserves
Yes.
to have a mother or a parent like that. So when somebody tells me that you're lucky to have a mother like this, it's not something that I take lightly. I don't It's not something that makes me happy either, because I shouldn't be lucky to have a mother like that.
Everyone
Everybody
should be.
should have a mother
Yes.
like that. Everybody should be a mother or a parent like that. That is how parents are supposed to be. But unfortunately, in our society, right, in the Eastern society of us, especially in the South, not just South, in the North as well, in the Indian society in itself, we have a tendency to, not separate the children and the parents, and to consider that the child is also a part of the parent in a way that they're not a particular individual. The parents do not consider the child as an individual who can have their own feelings, their own likes and dislikes, and their own opinions about things. The parents consider the child as somebody who is from their own, a part of their own, so the child should also follow and believe in everything that the parent does. So there's no space for disagreement or respect, mutual respect. And luckily, my mother grew up with me. My mom gave birth to me when she was very young. She's very young. So we studied together, we grew up together, we learned together. So there was a sense of bond between us where we were able to, let each other grow and learn from each other as well. I think that's where we succeeded. That's where she became a very good mother, giving me my space, respecting me for my thoughts and beliefs, also being able to take in what I am telling her as well. Even if she disagrees with what I'm saying, she wouldn't bash me right away. She would listen to what I have to say. And if she has something to say against it, she would definitely tell me against it. But there's a sense of respect that you're an individual, you're coming from this place, you have learned all these things, you have this exposure, I have this, which is the reason why I am saying this. Maybe we can come to a conclusion together. That space of having mutual respect and having a proper discussion, that is what is required more than having dominance over your children and saying that whatever I'm going to say is 100% right. I think that space has to be created among families.
I think this must be heard by all the parents out there.
Well, we're all going to
Okay.
be parents one day, so.
Yeah. Yeah, inshallah, like a super mommy. Okay, then how did you get into the field of psychology? Like, who is the inspiration, or how did you get to that field? Like, by seeing anyone or inspiring, or how did you
No,
get
I don't have a
over
particular
there?
person or anything as such.
Okay.
My mom was working in the field. My mom was doing counseling since a very long time. I wasn't looking into getting into it. I found psychology very interesting, but I had actually gotten into LLB. I was doing my LLB after my 12th standard. I joined for
Okay.
law. I did 2 years of law, and my plan was to finish my law. I loved learning law. Law was one of my favorite subjects, definitely. But what happened is I was studying in Mysore and I was having a lot of mental health issues. I was also having a lot of physical health problems. I would faint a lot. The food wasn't suiting me. I had a lot of issues like that over there. So we decided to take my transfer to another law college, which was closer to my home. Also, me and my mom were planning to start an NGO in Kasaragod, where I live right now. അപ്പോൾ ഇവിടെ എൻ ജി ഒ സ്റ്റാർട്ട് ചെയ്യണമെന്ന് വിചാരിച്ചപ്പോൾ ഐ ഹാഡ് ടു ബി ക്ലോസർ ടു ഹോം ഐ ഹാഡ് ടു ബി ക്ലോസർ സോ ദറ്റ് വി കൻ പ്രിപ്പയർ ദ ഡ്രാഫ്റ്റ് ഫോർ ഇറ്റ് ദ ഡീഡ് എൻ ജി ഒക്ക് വേണ്ടിയിട്ടുള്ള ട്രസ്റ്റ് ഡീഡ് ഒക്കെ പ്രിപ്പയർ ചെയ്യാൻ വേണ്ടിയിട്ട്. So I decided to come closer to home and take an admission in a law college in Mangalore or so. But then it didn't work out because I was doing BALLB honors and this college did not have honors, and the university said that I had to change to a college with honors itself. So I was in a very bad place because I didn't know what to do with my life anymore. Because I felt like my course was over and now I have to start from first all over again, do law in some other college. It was a very hard time, but I didn't give up. I checked out on other courses, and when I was doing law, there was this one subject that intrigued me a lot. It was victimology and criminal psychology. So when we studied criminal psychology, I realized that there's a lot of depths and layers to it, and there's not much people working in it in India. And I felt like that was some area that I could really contribute, criminal psychology and victimology as well, which is the reason why I started looking into any field, any college that had any courses related to it. So I found a course with triple major in criminology and forensic science, psychology, rural development. It is three majors. So I joined for that course in Mangalore, and yeah, I would say that changed my life. That's where my interest in psychology really got in depth because I started reading a lot, I started seeing a lot of things, I started interning in a lot of places, and I realized that my skill sets really lie in that field, and then I started working on it. So that's how I got into the field.
Okay, well, we know that Kerala is first in being in literacy rate. In literacy rate, Kerala is first. But in the case of suicide rate, Kerala holds the fifth rank in India. So, what could be the reason for increasing the number of suicide rate, even though people are educated or even though people are literate? What could be the reason?
Kerala is a
Do you
state,
think?
like you said, yeah. I would just speak according to my opinion. I don't exactly know the statistics related to
Okay.
this. But yes, since Kerala is the most literate state and we have a lot of educated people in Kerala, that is leading to a sense of pressure in a lot of students. You know, the pressure to excel, the pressure to be in the top ranks, the pressure to be the best, the pressures to get into IITs and into good medical colleges. And there's only very few seats. It's not like everybody can get in anyways. The rest will have to take their admissions in other colleges. So there's the sense of being the best in everything in Kerala that parents have put onto their children, and also only having to take science streams, and forcing children only into such
Yes.
things have really disturbed the mental health of children. And this is not just when they're in their teenage years. This starts when they're in their very younger years itself. When kids are very young itself, parents are forcing them to get good ranks, first rank in first standard, in second standard, in third standard, like it even makes a difference. And also in the form of arts, there's this sense that there's this thing that my child has to be an all rounder, not just good in classrooms, but also good in arts and sports and science and
Yes.
everything. So they push their child so much. Yes, it's true that when you're a child, if you're exposed to a lot of things, you would be really good in all these forms, in all these fields. But then there's always a limit. There's always a line that has to be drawn. There's always something we have to understand if the child really wants it or is interested in it or not. If the child is showing any signs of distress or is telling us that this is not what they want, we're supposed to understand their feelings and work accordingly. But most of the time, parents have this closed space where they not let the child come forward and tell us how they actually feel. So they say that if you're feeling a certain way, they will make fun of you for feeling that way.
Yes.
Especially if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling angry, your feelings are not validated. Instead, your feelings are insulted, are made fun of. So the children feel like they cannot open up, they cannot talk to anybody. So this really builds up a lot of pressure, like a pressure cooker. You really need to put out the steam. When you can't put out the steam, it keeps building up inside you and it blasts. In some people, it blasts in the form of suicides. In some people, it blasts in the form of mental illnesses. You never know in what kind it might come out, but it will come out. So it's always better to, take it slow, give them the space to talk, to open up, to do what they like to do, to give that sense of friendliness. That is very important. This could be one of the reasons. There could be many other reasons as well. But yeah.
Yeah, when you said, I too felt like that. I like from a part of experience.
Oh,
Okay. Okay. Recently, one of the Superman, or like we could say a superstar in the Bollywood, Sushant Singh Rajput, has left us. So after he being departed, many of the social media was flooded saying about the social, about the mental health, depression, everything. So uh, during that time, they were alert about it. Yet the other times, they were not, like they were, excuse me, okay, they were not much bothered about that. So what do you think? Till a period, none of them were aware about mental health and depression. Nothing. At a moment when a superstar left us, knowing that he had committed suicide by depression, everyone woke up saying about mental health, depression. So, what would you like to say about this?
that's the thing about trends, right? When a trend comes, everybody talks about it. And then the trend dies, then nobody cares about it. But the good side is at least people were talking about it. At least
Yes.
people were talking about it. At least we acknowledged it for some time. At least we realized that this is something that can happen to anybody. No matter how rich you are, no matter how many people you have in your life, no matter which position in your life you are, you can have depression. You can have suicidal tendencies. Now we have understood that no matter how happy you look on the outside, you can be a depressed person inside. So mental illness is not a joke, Nilakaryam. That something at least some awareness people have got because of it. But I would still say that it was a very hypocritical state. and the face of time. Because yes, a lot of people were talking about how mental health has to be considered and how depression is real and people suicide rates are getting high. But at the same time, the same people who say that they have to be kind, we're also going and slut shaming and body shaming. Even Sushant's ex-girlfriend or so under different kinds of posts, making up news and fake news and or being obsessed with it and
Yes.
going on and on about it. So basically, you're talking about the mental health of one person and ignoring the mental health of every other person related to them. That is not okay either. So
Yeah.
when you're taking a stand, you have to
Yes.
understand all the aspects of it, which was, I think, was forgotten by a lot of people when it came to that. However, still, we started talking about it. At least that's one start. Yeah. We're at least breaking the taboo little by little. So we're getting
Yes.
somewhere. Hopefully, people like us, all of us, could bring the conversation forward, keep discussing about all of these things, and make real changes. So yeah, I hope,
Yes. We will.
hopefully,
We have to.
yeah.
Okay. So, how important it is to have a peaceful mind, and according, like, what do you think? How do we gain peaceful minds?
See, most people have a doubt of they don't understand the difference between mental health and mental illness. Now,
Yes.
everybody needs good mental health. Everybody needs mental health. Everybody has a mental health. Like we have a physical health, we have a mental health. But not everybody has a mental illness. Some people have a mental illness, but anybody could have a mental illness, right? If our mental health goes bad, we could have a mental illness. So it is important to have a balance and to understand where we need to, lie. And that's how we save ourselves from from getting our mental health too worse or too bad, right? So we cannot say that we can be at peace all the time. We're human beings. It's not possible to be at peace all the damn time. But it is possible to create mindfulness. It is possible to create a sense of peace among us with our activities, the people that we surround ourselves with. That is possible with the kind of content that we consume, with the kind of food we eat, with the kind of talks we do, with the kind of discussions we have, with the kind of friends we choose to have and keep, with our partner that we choose and decide to stay with our parents, with our siblings. It is possible to create that sense of peace. Now, that is in our hands. Yes, it
Yeah.
is true that sometimes it's not in our hands and it can get out of hand and it can be an external chaos, like a lot of people eating your head and doing different things to you. But still, creating your inner peace comes from within you, from you not being bothered about it, and from you handling yourself and your activities and your behavior well. That comes with self healing practices, with practicing mindfulness. Meditation greatly helps, not everybody, but most people. So these techniques can be taken in by anybody, and it's very helpful.
Okay.
I think
So,
I'm going
how?
on and talking a lot. I'm very sorry if I'm talking too much.
No, that what I'm seeking for actually. Yeah, okay. So the next thing I would like to ask is that right now we are our school curriculum is like we are learning many things unwanted. Like so, how about bringing about psychopathology and psychopathology and psychology in school curriculum? And what do you think about that?
Okay, all right. So this is personal opinion, purely personal
Obviously,
opinion.
yes.
So also if anybody is, if I see a lot of people are watching, so there's 66 people watching here. So if there's anything you want to ask or say or
Yeah, you
comment
can
on, you can
post.
put it in the chat box. I will be
Yes.
reading it. Thank you so much for the hundreds and corrects, guys. Thank you so much. Okay, so yeah, from what you asked, Murshida, what I personally feel is psychopathology is definitely not something that students should learn, not something that school
Mental
students should learn.
illness.
Yes, that's not something that school students can handle or should learn. That's very complicated. It's only something
Okay.
medical professionals and higher professionals can learn. Okay, even us,
Okay.
we are finding it's not easy for us either to learn about all that and get into it. However, it is
Okay.
very important to learn about mental health. about how to keep your mental health sane, or about how to be peaceful, how to talk to people, how to behave with people, how to understand boundaries, how to learn these things. These are very general things. These are common things that people should know. How to not be toxic, how to behave, how to communicate, how to talk. These things are very important to learn. But these
Yes.
things are all taught in subtle ways, very subtle ways in moral education classes.
Yes.
And moral education is something nobody takes seriously,
Mm.
right? So I
Yes.
personally feel like that is a subject that can be strengthened further in school. If you start giving proper marks and grades to moral education and not taking it like a stupid thing, like people don't take moral education seriously. Moral science is not considered
Yes.
seriously. So maybe we can
Yes.
change the syllabus around moral education, around moral science, give more activities, make children do more stuff, make them do particular activities. For example, make them meditate and make them bring back a chart on how many times they've meditated, how which all days, what did they feel. Give them activities to do certain things. Give them activities to talk to their parents or communicate with their parents about certain things. About opening up, writing a journal, creating your own self journaling. So if you give all these things to children in their childhood itself, they will get used to it. They'll realize that, this is normal. My mental health is important. And I can, keep that at stake. About realizing the red flags. If you teach them what is an okay behavior, what is not okay behavior, good touches and bad touches, all these things can be
Yes.
included in these syllabuses. We can alter these syllabuses and make it look that way by giving them interesting tasks and activities to do. It's not just important for us to create a chart paper or a wall chart with good habits and bad habits, or with
Yes.
the isotopes and whatnot. That's not the only thing that we need in life. Career is not the only thing that we need in life. We need to maintain a proper personal life and family relationships as well. And if parents cannot teach that, then at least schools should be able to teach that. Children spend most of their half of their life in schools, right? Children, I'm talking about children. And if they can't get such values from schools, then what's the point? Yeah. So I think we can, like, it can be included. Definitely not psychopathology, because that's too complex to understand, and that's not something
Okay.
that you should be involved in, because once there are possibilities that if you start learning about the different kinds of mental health illnesses, they might fantasize and romanticize it to make them look like they have those illnesses. That is a possibility.
Mm.
So let's not get into
Okay.
anything like that. Rather, we can give the basics.
Yeah, I do think that that could be good. But we cannot do anything about in the school curriculum. But future, there might be any changes we can
Who
hope.
knows? Maybe someday we could
Maybe.
get into,
Yes.
NCRT. Be
It's
working
following
there.
the old syllabus till now
Yes.
even.
There's 60
It's
people
not
watching here.
improving.
There's 60 people watching here. All right. So we never know. Maybe tomorrow who will get into working in NCRT, who can
Yes.
change what. Yeah.
Yeah. What I was learning, still the same syllabus, same textbook, nothing has
Yes.
changed. Okay,
But the
ask
world
the
has
next
changed.
question. Yes, the world is changing day by day,
Yeah.
but the
Yes.
NCRT, not yet.
Has to,
Okay.
should.
Recently, I have seen something on Instagram that was an interview. Okay, Baba interview done by one of an actor.
Hmm.
So I heard a line like this: എന്തിനാണ് feminism? Equality വരട്ടെ. From that tagline, I understood that most of the actors and influencers doesn't know what is the meaning of feminism. So actually, what is feminism?
Hmm. Is that your question?
Do you want to hear it once again?
No, no, no. I heard. Okay. So you just want to know what is feminism.
Yes.
Okay. So I've actually made a video on this and I put it up on Instagram because
Yes,
I
I
was
have
fed
seen, but
up.
I want my 60 participants want to hear it.
Okay, because I was really fed up with the kind of misinformation that was being passed, and all the hate
Yes.
surrounding it, and just hating on it unnecessarily, like it
Yes.
affects men, or like it puts down other people, when it doesn't. Feminism is only about bringing other people up. It's about bringing the oppressed up and forward. See, the thing with our world is that Since years and years and years, women have been oppressed. Women, children, and trans individuals, anybody who is different than a straight male, anybody who is different from a straight male is oppressed. So we've all grown up that way, being seen as the second sex, or the, you know, as the inferior one. And that's
Yes.
not okay. And being seen that way has denied us a lot of opportunities, denied us from getting into a lot of things, restricted us from doing a lot of things that we want to do, going to places, earning equal money. It has given us a lot of problems. And it's only because women started a movement called feminism years ago that women even got the chance to vote. Women couldn't
Yes.
vote before. Only men could vote. Only because of feminism, we were given the right to vote. After that, we were given the right. I'm talking about basic human rights, you guys. We were given the right to drive, the right to actually start working and not just looking after children or feeding them. Yeah. So these things came with after years of oppression, and it's not like we're not facing oppression or patriarchy does not exist anymore. So feminism is only about equality of all sexes, as in wherever the superior sex that people consider that is the male sex is right now, females, children, trans individuals, everybody also want to be in the same level as them, not higher, not lower, the same level. However they
Yes.
are considered, we also want to be considered, and we do not want men also to go lower or men also to go higher. We want everybody on an equal platform. How hard is that? How hard it is to understand that all human beings need to be treated equally. It's called feminism only because women started it. That's why the word fem is in it. Because women started it, because it was our need. We really needed to bring that change. That's how it started. But it's not just our fight, it's also everybody's fight. Because there are many men who are clouded and are disturbed by the fact that they have to act a certain way to even be called a man, that they're not supposed to cry, they're not supposed to wash plates, that they're not supposed to cook. That's not okay either. That's toxic masculinity. So we should give men also the space to express themselves the way they want to. Basically, equality of all sexes. That's feminism. I hope that's clear.
Okay, I was about to ask, does feminism belong to a specific gender, or
I lost you there.
can
Can
a
you please
man be?
repeat
You
it?
have already answered it, right?
I missed it. Can you repeat it?
Does feminism belong to a specific gender? Can a man be a feminist?
I think I already answered that.
Yes, you
Yes,
have already
yes,
answered that. Yeah.
anybody can be a feminist, irrespective of
But
gender.
but many of them have no idea about it. Like,
No, it's because they have a distorted idea of it. They think they
yes,
think
and
when
they're
we say,
spreading it.
yeah, because they think that when we call for feminism, when we ask for feminism, we are trying to basically suppress men because we want to be higher than them. And there's also a sense
Yes.
of, there's also a sense of complex that stems from feminism vanna pinna namakella paniyedukkandi varum. We'll have to wash plates, we'll have to clean the house, we'll have to look after the children. Is that what they're saying? We can't do that. I mean, it's time to check if, all of those are problematic jobs to do. If those chores make you feel insecure, then it's high time to check the way you treat us as well. Women are not doing the job that they're doing because it's their responsibility or because they have to do it. It's just because, it's because of respect. It's because maybe they're doing it better. It's
Yes.
something that they do well. Maybe that's why. There are many women who don't cook well at all, but there are many men. The best chefs in the world are men.
Chef. Ah,
Yeah,
yes.
yeah. But when it comes to their own households, why is that such a big problem for them? I also know men who are amazing at doing household chores and they don't work outside, their wives work outside and bring money. And this should be normalized. It's supposed to be according to your comfort and your family's comfort. If the man does not want to work and the woman wants to work, it's okay. If the man wants to work and the woman does not want to work, it's okay. If the woman is educated and she still does not want to go work but want to look after her child, she does not stop being a feminist. She will still be a feminist because that's her choice. Choice is different. If you don't want to work yourself, that's okay. That's a choice you are making. And she does not stop being a feminist just because she chooses that. She can still be somebody who says that she supports women to be in the same level as men should, that equality is important. Yeah, I hope
Yes,
that's clear.
it is. Okay. So the number of attacks towards women, the women harassment, and the number of rape cases is increasing day by day. So, as a woman, how could we stop this, or how can we stop of rape cases or women harassment?
Look, I
What
don't
can we do
think
from our part?
I don't think it's the responsibility or the job of the woman to stop the harassment or the case, because we are the oppressors. We are the ones who are being abused.
Yes.
We are the victims. And I'm
Yes.
talking about male victims as well. There are a lot of teenage boys and younger boys and children also who are victims. So let's use the word victims.
Yes.
So it's not the responsibility of the victim to not be abused or to not be harassed. It is the responsibility of the abuser to not abuse, to not harass. So, what we can do is definitely educate and spread awareness among our children, our family members, and give proper make cases, file the cases. This is a problem. This is something that we are afraid of doing.
Yes.
When we actually
Yeah.
face an abuse or we actually face a harassment, we don't complain against it, especially if it's a family member. Then we never complain against it. I think that's the problem. I think that's where we should start. So if we are a victim, or if we are family members of the victims, or if we are friends of the victims, then we encourage them to file the case and make life a hell for the abuser, for the harasser. It should be, because they deserve to be in jail. We can't just say that we will be ruining their life. They've already ruined your life, and that's not okay. Yeah, the
Yes.
law is on
Well
our
said.
side. So that's the only thing that the victim should be doing. The only responsibility of the victim is to damn file that case. That's it. And it's everyone's responsibility to teach everyone that it's not okay to call bad names, to have name calling, to slut shame, to body shame, to harass, to rape, to abuse, to do anything that physically or mentally harms another person. It doesn't hurt to be kind. It's not that difficult to be kind. It's not that hard.
Okay. So, and I think more strict laws and action should be brought about this.
Yes,
Just because of
our
our
laws,
laws.
yeah, our laws do have a lot of loopholes. Our laws are not
Yes.
great. But then again, it's us citizens who have to demand it as well. If you remember, when it comes to rape, until 2012, okay, I'm going to use explicit words here. I hope that's okay. Everyone is adult, right? Everyone here is an
Yes.
adult, I hope. Okay, so all right. So only sexual intercourse, post sexual intercourse was considered to be rape until 2012. Insertion of foreign objects was not considered to be rape. Okay, so there was this case, there were multiple cases of kids being inserted with bamboo sticks and electric rods and whatnot, and none of them were considered rape, and none of the abusers or criminals were convicted. They were all they were all given bail because the case was not strong enough. All right, and those children obviously died or passed away or was in coma, or their life was completely destroyed, obviously. But in 2012, the Nirbhaya case happened. And when the Nirbhaya case happened,
Yes.
the Delhi case happened, the entire India came together to fight against the laws. We said that we needed a reform in the criminal laws. We are not okay with this. We need a change. And we asked for that. We went on candlelight protests and we protested again and again and again. The government changed the laws. The laws were amended. Criminal Law Amendment Act took place in 2012 because they felt pressurized. So the change included a lot of things. So when the rape laws were amended and made stricter, it got a little more better. The justice system got a little more better. Obviously not entirely better, but a little more better when we
Yes.
started asking for it. So it's just a matter of us citizens asking for our rights. We have to get into the streets, we have to protest, we have to ask for what we need. കരയുന്ന കുഞ്ഞിനെ പാലുള്ളൂ എന്ന് പറയില്ലേ അതുപോലെ.
Okay. I guess I have more question to ask, but I guess it's
We don't have
time is
time.
about to end. Yes,
Okay.
but just within a matter of 5 minutes, I have just a quick questions to you. So answer me
Oh,
very quickly. Ready?
okay, cool, cool. I'll
Okay,
try.
biggest dream.
To
Just
have
one word,
my
okay?
own therapy clinic, plus to be a lecturer, maybe a vice chancellor someday, hopefully.
Okay, superpower you wished for.
Nothing. To be a good teacher. To be a good
Oh,
teacher. It's not a
okay,
superpower though.
okay. Animal you wish to be.
Panda.
Wow, just leave every time.
No, to just roll and be extremely cute.
Yeah, damn. Okay, favorite superhero.
Uh, oh, I don't like
Quick, quick.
to. Wonder Woman.
Wow, okay.
Okay.
Describe you in 3 words.
Describe me in three words. Okay. Cheerful, um,
Come on.
happy, and emotional.
Okay. Where would you go if you were invisible?
I would try to make things possible that would make a lot of people happy, but then that's not something that I don't know. I don't want to be invisible. What's the point? I think I already do everything that I would do even if I was invisible.
Okay, that's fine. Okay. Compliment people give you the most.
That they like my smile, that I smile very open.
Even me too. Biggest addiction.
I really love chocolates.
Okay.
Chocolates.
Thing afraid of.
I am afraid of snakes. Very afraid of
Okay.
snakes.
Now the final question. Rate the sweet talk.
What?
Rate the sweet talk.
I did not understand. What?
Rate the sweet talk. How many
Rate the
marks will it be
talk.
for?
Oh, I
Yes.
absolutely love the talk. Thank you so much. 10 by 10.
But I have some more question to ask. The time is not sufficient anyway.
Oh my God, I'm so sorry. I spoke too much.
Okay, that was a great time with you, Miss Woman. And
Thank you so
inshallah, I
much,
hope one day I will
Rushida.
meet you.
Definitely. I hope so too. I had a great time, you guys. Thank you so
Oh,
much.
that's
Even I
pleasure.
wanted to know if anybody in the audience want to ask something, I would like to answer, but then there's no time here.
Okay.
Can we have like
Any
30
Yeah,
audience?
minutes?
Would you
if
like
the
to ask anything?
excuse me, excuse
Yeah,
me.
yeah, sure,
If the
sure,
guest
sure.
is
Yes.
okay, we can go for more. If the guest is okay, all right with that.
Oh,
We
yeah,
have
I'm
no
okay. I'm
restriction
okay.
about
I
it.
do have time to spare.
Okay. That's my
Okay,
pleasure too then.
if anyone could, if any of the participant is willing to ask any question, please
Yeah, I
raise
was
your
about
hand
to
in the
ask
chat
that
window.
question. So, Fona, in case asking something.
Okay,
Yeah,
yeah, sure.
excuse me. If anyone is willing to ask directly, they can raise your hand in the chat window. The moderator will let you open your mic.
Can
Please
you talk
don't.
about Stories Revolutionary? Like, how did you get into Stories Revolutionary? The
Okay,
story
Stories
behind it.
Revolutionary is something that we started, me and three of my friends. It was an idea that came out of Instagram option. When the live option came in, we realized that there is an option for two people to go live at the same time. This was 2 years ago. At that time, nobody was using it. It was a very new option. So we thought, why not, interview people using that option? That's how we started off. And then we started getting a lot of amazing people to talk to. And then we realized there's a lot of potential for this. So we took it outside, we took it into a public space, and we started conducting storytelling events outside in the public areas. So we got a lot of amazing speakers, a lot of amazing storytellers, and we realized that as a team, we were able to create a very beautiful vibe and environment, give a lot of happiness to a lot of people, give a lot of opportunities, find new talents. So we started doing, innovative ideas and programs and keep doing more stuff like that. So that's how we grew. Now we have a beautiful community of storytellers and very talented individuals. We've created a beautiful community. We also conduct camps and online events and games and activities and storytelling competitions and things like that. So that's what we do.
Okay. And one more thing. Okay. See, many of the people or many of the students is facing the fear to hold the mic or the fear for speaking, public speaking. So within a short time, how could you motivate or how could you say like how to get rid this fear of public speaking?
I have a course on public speaking. I have trained around 30
Yes, I
students
know
so
it.
far in my course. But over the years of my lifetime, I have made a lot of people get over their fear and do it. That's something that I absolutely love doing because it makes me very happy to see the people that I know on stage holding the mic doing what they love. It's basically a selfish motive. It makes me happy. That's why I make them do it.
Wow.
There's not something that I can just say in one line and make you get rid of your fear, but
But then I
just
was so
know,
shocked.
that your fear is you limiting yourself. Nobody else is
Yes.
judging you. It's you yourself creating that fear in you. So only you can break your own fear. Nobody else can do it for you. So nothing that I say will stop making you feel afraid.
Okay. How do you keep yourself motivated during when you receive any negative comments or like negative comments or when you are facing a failure?
Two things. One, the way I talk to myself. I used to talk to myself terribly before. Okay.
Me
I
too.
used
Same picture.
Years ago, I mean, I was terrible to me. I spoke to myself very badly. I used to make myself feel very bad. I used to tell me, oh, you're not good enough. Oh, you can't do anything. What people are telling about you is true only. You're a bad person. I used to talk to myself like that. That made me even more worse. But
Okay.
since I changed, I switched the way I speak to myself, things have gotten so much better for me and my life has changed completely. Everything that I usually do has gotten much better as well. So definitely one, it's the way I talk to myself. Only if I talk to myself well, will I be able to take in the comments of other people talking to me good in a good way also. Before and all, if somebody compliments me also, I wouldn't take it seriously. I would just say, huh, you're simply saying it to make me happy. I used to be like that. But after I started talking to myself better, I started appreciating the way others appreciate me as well, others compliment me as well. So I have a good emotional support system. I have a few friends who I'm very close to, who are always with me, whom I discuss about everything. I have a really open mama, my mother. I talk to her as well. So these are the two ways in which I work it out.
Okay, someone is asking a question.
Yeah. Is it the shortage of laws? No. Comment on hygiene and healthy food in current scenario. I'm not a nutritionist. I am only studying for being a clinical psychology student. And I wouldn't certainly say my eating habits are very healthy either. But recently, I have gotten into a stage where me, my mom, and my brother, all three of us are working out every day. We are exercising every day. Also, we have cut down on
Okay.
sugar. We are not taking sugar anymore. I think that has really changed our state. For some reason, I think it has made me a happier person. I don't know how it works. Please don't ask me. But we've changed our consumption of sugar to jaggery. Sharkara ile. We stopped using sugar
Uh-uh.
and we use sharkara now in everything, including chaya, in tea, in coffee, in everything.
Okay.
We only use sharkara. And it doesn't taste any different, but it feels different for some reason. You feel like you're not consuming white poison anymore, and it does help your health much better also, I feel. So in case anybody is looking to shift, please do. I would say it's a really cool option. um, is it the shortage of laws or improper implementation of laws that leads to exploitation? Not the shortage of laws. We definitely have a lot of laws, but there's definitely lots of loopholes in the laws that we may need to fix, that needs a lot of change. There are a lot of laws that we need to bring in forward as well, but that's for another day. But exploitation is definitely brought forward by the lack of implementation and existence of terrible laws. For example, laws such as UAPA are terribly formed. So those things are being exploited very, very greatly. Comment about self healing after being rejected or not valued enough in friendships or relationships. All right, so all these things come from within, Selva. Self healing is basically something that you do for yourself. And to be able to do self healing, you have to start accepting yourself. You have to start accepting the fact that you, as a person, can help yourself, and your life is not the end of the world if you are rejected by another person. Your worth, the worth that you have, your self worth, should not be about how other people or another person sees you. It should be about how you see yourself and the work that you do, the content the content that you put forward and the amount of changes that you can bring forward. Yeah. So once you keep having such thoughts, once you can think about yourself that way, once you can, come to a space where you can actually think and make changes for you, you are in a place of acceptance where you are ready to heal yourself, then you can start doing self-healing methods. Then you can start investing your energy in self-healing methods. You can find that online. You can just Google self-healing techniques or self-healing methods and you can find many. I hope that helps.
Yes.
Okay, thank you so
So,
much, you guys.
okay. So, could you sing 2 lines for us? And any song?
What?
ഏതെങ്കിലും 2 വരി പാട്ട്.
What?
പെട്ടെന്ന് 2 വരി.
Okay, give me a second. Give me a second.
Okay.
I'll just take my ukulele. I think it's here only.
I'm not a singer, first of all. I sing because it makes me happy. So you're not supposed to judge me.
No.
Okay, let's try. Am I audible?
Yes, you are.
കളിയാക്കരുത് അവര്. Don't make fun of me. And I did not practice, so I might be really bad at this. ലിറിക്സ് ഒന്നും ഓർമ്മയുണ്ടാവില്ലല്ലോ. Ready? What are we gonna sing? Okay. Give me a second. All my bags are packed and ready to go. I'm standing here outside your door. I need to wake you up to say goodbye. Taxi's waiting, it's early morning. The dawn is breaking, it's nearly dawn. Already I'm so lonesome I could die. So kiss me and smile for me. Tell me that you wait for me. Hold me like you never let me go. I'm living on a jet plane. Don't know when I'll be back. Oh, hey, I hate to go.
Okay, thank you so much for joining with us and spending a lot of time with us.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much for inviting me, Murshida. It means so much to me. And thank you so much, everybody on the comment box saying nice things and sending me hearts and claps. It means so much. Please do connect with me if you.
It was a great time.
Thank you so much. If you like my content, please do connect with me. Please do talk to me. We can definitely connect over different things. We can have discussions. We can have talks. Thank you so much for inviting me. It means so much. Thank you so much, Javed. Thank you so much.
Welcome.
Thank you so much,
It's
Murshida.
our pleasure. Thank you.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, everyone. Thank you for our honorable guest, and thank you for all the participants. And I request all the participants can leave the meeting window now. Thank you, Suhana, and it was great pleasure
Thank you so
talking to
much.
hear
May I know
from
your
you.
name?
My name is Muhammad Musharraf, Secretary of IEEE MEST.
All right. Thank you so much, Musharraf. Have a great day, all of you.
Bye.